Hi, and welcome to another edition of Beer for Breakfast ABV. I am Danielle from The Moke Show on 91X. As always, I've got Brewmaster from Karl Strauss, Paul Segura, with me. He really makes it just so that I'm not, a drunk girl drinking on camera.
I legitimize the drinking?
You do, because you're an expert.
Well, I've been drinking a long time.
It's true.
I drink a lot.
It's true. And today, we are featuring a brewery that's never been on Beer for Breakfast before. We've got Rouleur.
Rouleur.
Raleigh from Rouleur.
We've got Raleigh from Rouleur. Raleigh is the owner as well as the head brewer. We also have Liz here. Liz is a beer tender, but also just does all kinds of stuff. You're jack of all trades over there at Rouleur, yeah?
I think they both are.
We're a small brewery. I think we're 4 employees right now.
Nice!
We hired 2 people this month.
Wow. Congratulations!
We doubled our employee staff.
Wow.
So we all wear a lot of hats.
Very cool. Well, before we started, we had a beer, the Bonker Mosaic Pale Ale. Super, super tasty. Do you see Paul?
Bonker.
See, you're gonna fix everything that I say, aren't you? It's bonker. Raleigh said, bonker.
All right, well,
Gosh.
he spells it the French way, so I pronounce
So
it the
confusing.
French way.
So confusing. No, it was a really, really great beer. You got that Mosaic right on the nose as soon as you drank it. It was wonderful.
It was wonderful. It is wonderful.
So in cycling, a bonker's a dude or a girl who ran out of energy. So pale ale is like my perfect go-to beer, recharge, not too...
And you guys said that was the beer of choice with like most cyclists,
Yeah,
right?
so we get a lot of cyclists to come in the brewery, and usually when they're done with the ride, that's the first beer they'll have.
They refill their water bottles with beer, so they don't bonk.
That's the way it should
Yeah,
be.
they can. Carbo loading.
Exactly. So are you an avid cyclist? Is that where?
Yeah, I'm 35 and I started riding when I was 30, so kind of later in life.
Okay.
I used to be a lot bigger. I used to be 205 pounds and kind of chunky. And then,
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was an engineer and worked all the time and didn't do anything physical. And then I bought a bike and it turned into, started racing and got a coach. And
I've actually heard of this a lot, like people who just like get a bike and then just drop a ton of weight because you're just like cycling everywhere.
yeah.
So what category are you?
I'm Crash 4.
Crash 4.
Yeah.
All right.
So I do
Crash
more
4 at
of
one time too.
I do more endurance riding now, like Belgian waffle ride and all that.
Okay.
And
Belgian waffle ride? That's a ride?
Yeah, it's 150 miles in San Diego.
Do you get to eat Belgian waffles?
You do.
That's
Beginning of the
awesome.
ride.
That's wonderful.
And then it ends every year at Karl Strauss. Lost Abbey.
Lost Abbey, nice.
Karl Strauss, Lost Abbey.
Yeah, same thing. Standing next to
It was in your head for some reason.
Well, this beer right here, this is a World Beer Cup winner, correct?
Had to bring that beer, yeah. So this is Domestique, yep. Belgian
Cheers
blonde.
to that, man.
Yeah.
Congrats on the bling. Way to bring home medals to San Diego.
So we're 9 months old when we brought this home. But
Really cool. Oh, this smells really good, man.
So Raleigh, tell the story about how you found out about winning.
Yeah, so I couldn't afford to go to the award ceremony in Tennessee, just being too small, and leaving the business for 5 days to go drink was just not out of the question. So we have a Thursday night bike ride. It's a gravel ride, kind of rides on dirt and road. And I went on our Thursday night ride. The award ceremony was Thursday night, and we had like a North County watch party. We were broadcasting it, and of all days, Pat from Alpine walks in to sit down in our taste room and have a beer
He's
with
a
us.
good dude.
Yeah, so went on the ride and I said, okay, see ya. And then, I'm riding, I have a little computer on my bike, a Garmin, and it talks to my phone and it just says incoming text message. It doesn't say from who, it just says incoming. And then a minute after that, incoming.
You're like,
And
what's
I'm like,
going on?
what's going on? It said you have 13 messages in 2 minutes. And then all of a sudden it says incoming call from your wife, Alyssa. So I was like, shit, something happened to our kids. Am I allowed to cuss?
Sure, why not?
On this show, yeah.
Goes on the
I
internet.
can't remember. Yeah, so my wife's like, I'm like, man, something happened to one of our kids. So I pull over, the whole group pulls over, and she's like, you just won a World Beer Cup title. I'm like, holy shit, which one? She's like, Domestique. And so that was it. And then I realized after looking at my phone, after hanging up, it was all these people in town who were at the ceremony like, why aren't you down there grabbing your award?
That's so rad.
Who did grab the award?
No one. They mailed it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ah!
So there was no one standing there. It's really sad. So I went to GABF this time like, I'm not going to miss it, and then didn't win an award.
We too were at
Murphy's Law.
GABF. It was a good time. But this beer, I mean, I guess when I think of a Belgian blonde, this is it. this is exactly what I think of.
Yes, I love this beer. It's not super phenolic. It's got a really nice touch of white pepper in there that I love a lot. Well balanced, well made.
So I have a theory, and again, I came from home brewing, like left engineering, started a brewery, never worked a day in my life in a brewery, and
You must have a very understanding wife.
yeah, she also luckily has a job
Nice.
that pays all the bills. So, but I feel like most Americans, when they make a Belgian-style beer, they turn the screws too tight. You know, they pump up the phenolics, they pump up the esters, and it's just like if you have a Belgian beer fresh from Belgium, it's not as estery as when you have it here. So I ferment actually kind of cold for these yeasts. This is a Belgian Bastogne yeast, but it's fermenting at 65.
I like you the more I hang around you.
Yeah. So
I think we have very similar philosophy. Right, some people just crank it, they overpitch, they over-aerate, they ferment too warm, and then it's like chewing on a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
I like a little bit of phenolic, but I don't really want
you don't
all
want to
that
come up
medicinal.
Yeah. So the way I get around that is just a little cooler temp, and
It's earthy,
Yeah.
it has phenolics there, but it comes across in a pleasant way, peppery, really beautiful, man. I could see why it won.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great beer.
and that was batch 3 that won. So and
Oh,
it's been the same
wow.
recipe ever since. And this is one I brewed for a long time as a home brewer. So it was our first batch on our brew house when we moved. So we're in the Brew Igniter spot. So you guys know that?
No.
HD Fenton, like Pure Project and Amplified. and
Okay, yeah.
Epic, they're all in those kind of turnkey brew houses. And this was the first beer we brewed on it. But yeah, so we won't touch this one. It's always
Don't mess
around.
with it. Yeah, cool.
Cool. So you guys are located in Carlsbad, right? Where in Carlsbad, if I'm
Way
going?
hidden. So El Camino Real, right by the airport.
Oh, okay.
So like a mile and a half north of Bergen.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect. Just do a little hopping around, hit you guys up over there.
Yeah, we're pretty hidden, unfortunately. We're in a business park. We're tucked way back. Carlsbad doesn't allow much in the way of street signage, so we're battling that. We were next to Wise Guy.
Yeah.
They went out of business, and now we're next to Papa Marcy's, which are some guys that broke away from Indian Joe.
Oh, nice.
Okay. So people get off work and come to the tasting room?
Yeah,
and
that's when we do our
accumulate
most business, is
happy
truly
hour?
like Wednesday through Friday. And then the weekends are people that are seeking you out because you don't see us, you know what I mean? So it's either you know about us or you read about us or you got a review or...
How's the distribution going on the beers? Like, where can people find the beers?
Mainly in North County. We are in very few spots down here. It's just a long way to deliver for us.
Yeah.
So we're in like Doper, which we're about to drink, is always at Yard House. It's always at Draft Republic. Those big spots, they order it all the time. The landings at the airport has Bone Shaker on all the time.
Cool.
So we have a lot of rotating. Then we have some of those staple accounts that we're like 85 accounts right now.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
So we're kind of unfortunately in between salespeople. We had a full-time sales guy for a while, and then he left and went and got a job in the Army. So it's kind of different. But we have a new guy starting Monday, so that was a little hiccup. And I'm a one guy kind of doing the brewing and sales right now, which is
That's a lot of work.
Many
Yeah.
hats, many hats.
yes. That's why I have so many like Liz. Hey, we need someone to run the taste room tonight.
That's awesome. Well, it is 2018, and it seems that you can't have a brewery without having a hazy IPA.
Yeah, so literally our story is we launched kind of mistakenly with the idea that we were all Belgian. Like we launched with a very Belgian heavy selection. And then we've had to adjust, my passion is Belgian beers, but I've had to adjust to be relevant. It's a business now. So we
Haze
brought
is the craze, man. You got to give people what they want.
We brought Doper on. It's our juicy. We have a double hazy. We have a New Zealand Pils. Over there was a true sour aged in barrels for a year with apricot. So, and then we have right next to it, we'll have a kettle sour Berliner Weiss. So we do, and Rouleur, the name Rouleur in cycling is an all-arounder. So like a guy who can be used on his team to go do a climbing stage or a sprinting stage. He's kind of a guy that is not a one-trick pony. So
do
it's
it all.
kind of the brewing we do is we were thinking about for Christmas brewing a malt like malt beverage beer and put it in 40s and call it like the gutter.
Yes!
And put in paper bags and
That's amazing.
just haven't got to it yet.
How fun though,
Yeah.
just, all the different ideas. Well, let's cheers to that.
Cheers.
Yeah. So I'm still kind of
Cheers.
like, I don't know, burping up some of that last beer, man. It's sticking with me, man. I love that. It just kind
And
of
it's
lingers.
a blonde, so most blondes I feel like are, I don't know, they're kind of the boring entry,
I don't think so.
Yeah, blondes are
I think
boring.
people need to know that it takes more skill to make like beers like that than it does, super high gravity, super bitter,
with a
double
lot of
IPAs and
to
stuff.
hide behind. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this uses classic Amarillo Citra Mosaic.
Oh man. Such good citrus popping
Yeah.
from the nose on this.
And it's got nice balance too. Sometimes I feel like I have a hazy IPA and I almost feel like it leaves a coating in my
Yeah,
mouth.
I can't
Or they're
stand
just
beers
Like a
that
chalky, just like, but I don't get that from this, and that's what I appreciate.
still get a little bit of the bitter,
Yeah.
the softness.
Yeah, definitely. It still has a really big first wort addition. I don't do an all late boil beer in the hops. So basically this has 40 IBU, calculated worth of hops right at first wort, just to give that.
But it's more hoppy than bitter. I
Yeah.
mean, it's got some bitterness there, but
It's a big
and I
knockout.
like that it's not a yeast bomb.
Yeah.
It's definitely got a lot of cloudiness and a huge veil, but
So
Not all that's yeast, that's protein.
Morgan from, so I've had my fair share of Doper's Fall Clear. The Doper's name of the beer, juicing in the sport of cycling, you're doping, so it's a juicy IPA. Morgan from Modern Times, I had some beers, just the first batches where I was treating them more like my, say, Bonker, where it's going to get a dry hop and I want it to eventually be bright. We don't filter any of our beers except Bone Shaker. And so really, I don't think any of this is really yeast. I think people don't understand what it really is. For me, it's like the temperature at which you throw your dry hops in. And there's an interaction that occurs, and it's permanent haze. Like these cans are actually I think they're 2 months old.
Oh, wow.
And the kegs, you don't have to like do the flipping thing at accounts. It just stays hazy. And, like Modern Times, they have to centrifuge, and if it was yeast, it would fly out when you do it.
Yeah. I kind of just like to go back a little bit where you were saying, like it's not super bitter. I think that a lot of times people get bitter and hoppy confused.
Yeah.
I work in a tasting room also, and and they're like, oh, I don't like hops, I don't like hoppy, and I'm like, no, you don't like bitter.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a big difference between those. But on this one, you get a little bit of that bitter, but you get just all the aroma of the hops off of it. It's delicious beer.
I can't understand why people wouldn't like hop flavor. I really can't even relate to that.
They don't
'cause
think
it's so
they like
good.
hop flavor.
I think
A lot of people that say that will still like a hazy beer that's
Right.
not bitter.
That's
right?
what I always say in the tasting room. I'm like, check it out. Just try a little bit of this hazy, because you may think, and they're like, oh, this isn't hoppy. I'm like, well, it is hoppy, but it's not bitter.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Exactly. Once you take the time to explain it to people, you're tasting orange, you're tasting grapefruit, you're tasting maybe, I don't know.
And that's why I like
Anything.
it. And it's amazing. Like I never thought about this part of the business, but on our menu, like it really influences the buyer how you describe this beer. If I wrote hoppy,
Oh, no.
I'd probably turn down a lot of people. If I write citrus, grapefruit, and they're like, oh man, that's
Well, you just need the one word.
yeah,
Hazy.
Yes, and that'll sell it all. I do want to commend you guys for your website. I was checking out your website, and the descriptions of all of your beers, it was so easy to navigate and so
That's all
easy
this guy,
to,
too.
Thank you.
It's those little things that,
Yeah. So if you come to our
Sounds
taste room, it's really small. The Brew Igniter spots it's like a 400 square foot tasting room, but it's all cycling themed. And I would say 90% of our people don't ride bikes like avidly like me, but they still appreciate the fact that there's like a brand and you can see time was put into the website, our signage, our wall decorations and all that. So.
Well, they may not ride bikes, but they like to fancy themselves as like bike
My uncle rode a
enthusiasts.
bike back in
People used to say about the New Belgium, like Fat Tire label itself, it's just got a picture of a bike next to a tree, but it kind of transports you mentally into that sort of scene, which is pleasant. right? So even if you have like all this bike stuff, bike gears and everything, people feel transported into riding a bike is a pleasant thing. People associate that with wind
well
in your
said,
face and a lot of cool stuff.
You're so poetic, Paul.
I feel like I'm clumsy with words.
No, that was very nice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You should read our beer descriptions, right, on the website. They're very, flowery, poetic language to describe a type of writer.
If you
Took
ever
me
need
a lot of time to write it, but
Awesome. Well, I know you guys have 2 years coming up in April. So what is the best way to keep up with everything going on with
Social
Rouleur?
media, for
Social
sure.
media,
Yeah,
the
and
Facebook, Instagram. Are you on Twitter?
It's all on Rouleur Brewing.
Sweet.
Yeah, so that's the best way. We post the most on there. We don't send, because it's a small team, I don't send regular emails to subscribers. It's more of social media.
Nice.
And then if you're a bike rider, you can follow us on Strava, which is like social media app for fitness.
Oh.
So we have a huge 450 member team of all these San Diego riders
Wow. Nice.
who post their rides. And if you come into our taste room, there'll be like a leaderboard on the wall that will show your ride and how many beers you've earned, like equivalent calories
That's
burned.
awesome.
That's pretty cool.
That is so rad. Well, Raleigh, thank you so much for
Yeah.
taking time to come down here. Liz, super appreciate it.
Yeah,
Paul,
great to have you guys on the show.
As always, you're the
Yeah.
best.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and don't forget, every Friday morning, Paul comes onto the Moog Show and tells John, Jared, myself, as well as you, what you should be drinking this weekend. And I think you
if
should
you're-
bring some Rouleur.
And if you're not drinking this, you need to question what you're doing with
What are
your
you
life.
doing with
I don't know.
life?
What are you doing?
Figure it out. And if you're up in Carlsbad, or make the trip up to Carlsbad and check out Rouleur. So thank you so much, and cheers to good beer.
Cheers.
Thank you.
91X.